One.
You were counting, and you did it before one.
Wow. It's a false start.
I needed a drink so bad.
That's 5-yard penalty on Berm to start road breaks.
I wanted a drink so bad because this day feels like a nightmare for many reasons.
Well, it's about to get a lot better because it is road breaks. It is brought to you by Card Collector 2, the world's finest sports card shop and memorabilia shop in Grove City, Ohio. And Ryan and his team have sent us with Bowman's Best You 2024. Really excited to rip this. The product came out on Monday. There's 4 autographs in here. We are drinking Deep Ellum IPA again because on Wednesday night in the that was last night. This show's on a Thursday. I can say what day it really is.
No secrets here.
Went through about 7 of these bad boys, maybe too many of them. It was a great night, wasn't it, Bill?
It was a great night. It was not so great of a morning, but we plowed through.
Casino night was a rousing success in more ways than one. But
it was a good time. I also won the guessing game for how many gumballs were in the jar. Crushed it.
they weren't gumballs.
Whatever, they're gum. Maybe not in the shape of balls.
What'd you win?
I won a towel warmer.
What'd you do with it?
I sold it to Spencer Holbrook for $30 because I already have one in my house because we had to buy one.
No, you have 2 at your house, don't you? You said you had 2.
No, we have one, I had to buy
But
one.
it holds 2 towels.
Yeah, it holds multiple towels. So Spencer wanted it for his wife, so figured what the hell.
Nice little profit.
I think it's important to understand that Carson Beck is on the cover of this, and I'm mentioning that for no apparent reason.
Actually, no, tell them what the reason is.
That's the first question.
We have questions about
Carson
that.
Beck is in the transfer portal now. After declaring for the NFL draft a few weeks ago, he's realized he isn't good enough to play in the NFL.
Got a little feedback and said, hey,
NFL
buddy,
said, we're good.
you might want to stick around in school if you can make money there.
And to be very clear, Ohio State is not going to be pursuing Carson Beck, from what I was told pretty adamantly, directly after reports that Ohio State would be a team to watch in his recruitment. And here's the inside baseball. Ohio State is a team to watch in every recruitment if a player wants to get paid because they're trying to use the Buckeyes for leverage. And
This feels a lot like Cam Ward.
yeah, it's weird because
Carson Beck's going to go to Miami.
Yeah.
Remember this time a year ago, the same thing happened. People started talking about Cam Ward and how Cam Ward would have some interest in Ohio State. And Ohio State said immediately after watching the film, no, we're good here. And I feel
Do you
like
think they regret that at all?
No, I don't think they do. It worked out pretty well with Will Howard. I feel like that's the exact same thing that's going to happen with Carson Beck, who was an interception machine for Georgia this year.
He was not very good. I think he's got some talent, but he had a regression year, and Ohio State doesn't need him unless he wants to come be Tristan Gebbia.
He does have some arm talent, and he'll get a chance to use it in Coral Gables.
He will.
For a while playing quarterback, and also because his girlfriend's there.
All right, so Bowman's Best
You
You.
know what I mean?
Bunch of Ohio State players in here, including a very cool triple autograph with Will Howard, Emeka Ibuka, and Quinshon Judkins. So that's
Which
the
one of
chase in
us
there.
is going to pull it?
That'd be pretty cool to do on camera.
Yeah.
So let's dig in, shall we? It's been a fun week in Texas so far, and even more fun now to get to rip this. Thanks to Ryan and Card Collector 2, as always.
So that was the first question about
Oh, look, Carson Beck.
Oh, but Carson Beck, huh?
Not really a question.
Oh, I got an auto. I got a Carson Beck. It's a cool insert.
Is it Carson Beck auto?
It's called Making the Grade. It's
a speckle.
like a speckle refractor insert.
Those are
The auto is Nate Johnson from Vanderbilt.
probably not the one you were looking to
You
start
got
with.
Drew Aller and a Braden Fowler Nicolosi.
All the QBs. QB pack.
QB pack. Here's a question from Jeremy. Not that
Hey,
one,
that's
a different Jeremy. Wondering about the health of the team. I think that's asked in light of the reports that both Penn State and Notre Dame have bubble guts. And also any injuries on the offensive line, anyone dinged up that folks should be worried about.
Didn't appear to be any injuries of note during open practice earlier in the week, and we do not have the availability report quite yet, but I don't expect to see any offensive linemen on there. In terms of health, haven't seen any of the flu. Lathan Ransom did miss his scheduled media availability on Sunday, but we saw him return to practice, and I saw him at the team hotel.
And he may have just not wanted to go. Nobody else wanted
It's
to.
Totally
entirely
fair.
possible on Wednesday, and he looked fine. And the players that we have spoken to both Sunday and Wednesday, and then heading into the walkthrough on Thursday, everything looked to be a clean bill of health. So we'll see, but it looks pretty good for the Buckeyes.
I got a Will Howard base card
Let's go.
in his Ohio State uni. It's a Photoshop job, but it's a good Photoshop job because you can see the background is still Kansas State stuff.
You have such an eye.
Riley Leonard, Aiden Childs, Ty Thompson, a whole
Any
quarterback.
refractors in there?
Nope.
Popped a red auto with the inscription in the first pack. That's quite a way to start.
Out of 5?
Jeremy Bernard with the hashtag Roll Tide. It's red
High
auto
tide,
to
guys.
5. High
On
tide.
card. High tide.
That's the winner. The winner right there.
It's still a sticker. I think the inserts are on card. I saw Ryan opened and hit a Davison Igbinosun insert auto that was on card, but this auto to 5 to start. I think we'll take that. I don't really know that much about Jeremy Bernard.
Mecca Abuka base card.
A Mecca Ibuka base card. It's a
Nice.
very nice looking base card.
Oh, look, another quarterback, Rocco Beck.
That's a cool
There we
Mecca
go.
card.
Let's get paid.
Drew Eller auto?
Drew Aller autograph.
Oh.
When these boxes are hot, they can be quite hot.
Yeah, this is a really good product.
These elements, these inserts are pretty basic, right? Luther Burden, silver elements.
DJ Lagway stuff is quite hot right now as well.
Here's another question for y'all. This
Okay.
is from Caleb.
What's up, Caleb?
Who is someone who was considered a weak link on the team, I guess, coming into the season, but we feel like has really stepped up?
Can I spoil bold predictions for Friday and say that Cody Simon wasn't
Yeah, I
really
think-
counted as to be one of the best linebackers in the country, and he absolutely is?
I think Cody and also linebackers in general is a very good answer. I mean, I would say, like, I had serious questions about just how good Josh Fryer could be coming off of
That's
last
one
year.
I was going to say.
And I think he's played really well this year. I know he had like a snap or two against Jordan Birch, where Jordan Birch won. Jordan Birch is a very good player. I think it's okay. It's not like Josh Fryer lost every single rep and he won more than he lost. I think he has made the improvements that he was hoping to make this year as a pass protector, and he's always been a really good run blocker. So I think he's definitely taken a step forward and been better than I thought he would be.
Got a DJ Lagway Aqua out of 225.
Congrats on the money.
That'll
2
do
packs,
nicely.
2 autos for me. Jaden Ott has popped out here. So
Cam Rising, he's 40 years old. Donovan Edwards, that's
It's
trash.
weird. Normally they say Bowman first. His says Bowman 14th.
yeah, they've only been
That's a
making
cool
it.
insert.
'Cause he's so old.
Masterpieces this year.
Get it?
There
Because
you go.
he's so old.
That does look better.
On account of how
Wilson.
old he
Yeah,
is.
I got it. Who would you say? Josh Fryer, Cody Simon.
Josh Fryer is where I was going to go. I mean, it was pretty clear heading into the season that
one.
offensive tackle was a concern for Ohio State for a lot of people. In some ways, I would say that there's probably or were some legitimate questions about Seth McLaughlin in center, whether or not he was going to be the answer Ohio State needed at center, and he certainly turned out to be. But on the backside of that is that Carson Hinsman, the experience that he got a year ago has been so instrumental in what he's becoming now. That said, I'm a little bit skittish on some of these snaps. I'm feeling like it's going to bite Ohio State in the butt one of these
They've been a
times.
little
Been a
low
little
at
low.
times.
There were at least 3 that caught my attention against Oregon a week ago. I think the other one that has to be involved in that conversation is G. Scott. I think in camp, I don't know, maybe a healthier version of Will Kazmarek may have changed this conversation, but didn't matter. He wasn't healthy, and G. Scott had to step up and play a more prominent role, and he did. It's not just that he goes out there and makes a big catch on the first play of the game against Oregon. I think his blocking has really improved throughout the course of this year. Ohio State trusts him with the football in big situations, and that has not only not been the case throughout the entirety of his career, but even 2 months ago, that probably wasn't quite the place that they wanted to live at. So I think he deserves credit for that. It's a lot of these veterans that there's a human nature and tendency to look for the next big thing to come along. Senior in Josh Fryer, senior in Cody Simon, senior in G. Scott.
Yeah.
Guys who stuck it out throughout the entire process, developed, been leaders, and been really key for Ohio State. You got an auto there, bro.
My first auto was C.J. Daniels, a wide receiver at LSU. Not entirely familiar with C.J. Daniels. So
Well, he's a wide receiver at LSU, so it's probably going to sell.
let's hope. I know a guy in Louisiana who might want it.
I haven't gotten a numbered card yet. I picked up a Cam Ward base card. I got another one of those making the grade inserts of Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State. Here's a question for
Boy,
Berm.
did he have a rough year compared
Weird
to what...
year, very weird year. Here's a question for Berm, and specifically for Berm, from Adam.
Uh-oh.
How is Berm feeling about the national people overwhelmingly picking Ohio State? It makes me nervous. And I want to hear from Berm because he was the only one nervous for the Michigan game, and we know how that turned out.
But he's always nervous for the Michigan game.
Yeah,
is correct.
I am, but I also understand I think that Ohio State in general...
Whoa!
DJ Lagway auto.
DJ Lagway auto.
I love that.
Heyday.
Ohio State, I think, really likes the idea of being overlooked and being played as the underdog and being the favorite in this game eliminates that. I also think that national people are more so than local media generally a slave to momentum and if they weren't paying attention to Ohio State all year and all they saw was the last two games and all they think is that this is a team that is unbeatable and an absolute runaway train, and I don't think that that's true. I can see a path for Texas to win this game.
Sure.
It's certainly not like when we talked about that Michigan game, I said it all week leading up to it. There was a very clear road for Michigan to win, and Ohio State played right into what they needed to do.
It was clear and also really narrow.
It was very narrow, but Ohio State did
still went down
exactly
that path.
what
Yeah.
Michigan wanted, which is, again, probably one of the most perplexing things I've ever seen covering this team and watching this team for 45 years. So I don't think it matters. I really do think that this team is in a different mindset in just extremely locked in, and I don't think they're going to get caught up in what people nationally are saying. But I understand being skeptical about it if you're an Ohio State fan because you're so used to national media hating your team.
I think the part about this game that I want to make this quite clear that I respect Texas as a program. I think Steve Sarkisian's done a good job. When we talked about the defensive talent,
I was really impressed by him. The press
he gave a really good press conference earlier today. That was my first time really sitting through some of those. At these playoff events, I've had to listen to others like Dabo Swinney, and I'm like, I don't understand why anyone follows this maniac. But Sarkisian, I think, had an impressive press conference. Now, I think a lot of times his teams, and especially this season, have not blown me away, not been impressive on the field. They've been underwhelming and less than the sum of their parts. You mentioned that, both of you guys, earlier in the week with how talented this Texas defense is, and I think that there's a clear difference between, is this the most talented team that they're going to play or the best team? Because I don't think that they fit together really on either side of the ball the way that they should or could. Now, the reason that I'm maybe, I don't know, nervous is not the word, on alert for a Texas path that's much wider than Michigan because they're so much more talented. And if they put it together and if Texas played its best game, of course it could win. Like, they are that good. And that's the part that I think is exciting about the matchup on Friday night. And also, if you want to spend the next 24 hours worrying about it and, what if Texas plays their best? Well, we haven't seen that. If it does happen, that could make for a definitely much more imposing evening for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, if Texas plays its best and Ohio State plays its best, it's going to be one hell of a game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that Texas's best is necessarily quite enough to beat Ohio State's, but it would be back and forth. It would be pretty high scoring, I think, if that were to happen. I just, especially Texas's offense, I have a hard time seeing them find that stride. It is funny to me that quite literally no one is picking Texas. I haven't seen anybody picking Texas. Is that Nico?
No, it's Ricardo Hallman.
Oh, from Wisconsin.
It's a die cut out of 100
Auto.
It's a Nico base in here, though. That's an interesting card. I don't.
We got a question.
Did he just transfer to Miami?
Who's to say? From
Probably.
Brutes Buckeye.
What's up?
We're recording this ahead of the Orange Bowl tonight. You got a lean, Penn State or Notre Dame? Is there anyone you prefer to see win?
I don't have a preference. Actually, I had lunch with Card Collector 2 earlier in the week, and he asked a similar question, and it's like, I guess he was phrasing it more of who should Ohio State want to see in the national championship game, and I think the answer to that is obvious. It's Penn State. The same mental block that Ryan Day has been working on with Michigan, James Franklin has that times 2 or 3, 9-game losing streak for them in that series, and he often looks completely befuddled on the sideline against Ohio State and coaches that game differently than he does against anyone else. And he doesn't coach that well against any top 10 teams, which is why I think he's going to lose to Notre Dame. And that, I think those are the two best teams. I picked Notre Dame and Ohio State to play in the national championship game before the playoffs started, so I'm not going to back off of that now. But I think they would absolutely want to play Penn State if they had their choice.
I think that's right. I picked Notre Dame to win the game. I had Notre Dame in the national title game when the bracket first came out. They're pretty banged up. I could see that being a factor in the game tonight that helps Penn State win. I think they're very similar teams. But Marcus Freeman, I've been pretty impressed with the way he's coached this year. And I'm never really all that impressed with James Franklin, fair or not. So my hunch is that Notre Dame wins that game.
think Penn State offense scares me more than Notre Dame's does. If I'm Ohio State,
Why?
Because of just the things they do, and they have a really, really good running game, which is like really getting on track over the last couple of weeks that they played. I think that Drew Aller is a much better quarterback than Riley Leonard. Offensively on the outside, neither of them have any guys that I think are really scary.
Yeah.
But Notre Dame's defense and what Al Golden does and the way he's multiple, I think, is extremely confusing. And so for that reason, I'd rather play Penn State. But it is hard to beat a team twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
And Penn State does not ever – James Franklin always craps the bed against Ohio State, but they are always in that game. And it is always
that's true.
Back and forth. And
That's a good point.
Eventually you're going to break through.
Are these the same? I pulled 2 cards. They look like the same parallel to me, but one's out of 225 and one's out of 15.
Well, that's very odd.
Yeah.
Who's the player?
One is Tej Johnson. He's the one out of 225, and the other is CJ Baxter from Texas. Out of 15.
We don't have the most light back here in the media suite right now, so we'll have to give it a closer look.
Getting some better confines. Okay.
Nothing wrong with hitting something to 15.
No.
Well, that's a pretty cool card.
A field day, Will Howard, a photo with him, Devin Brown, and Julian Sand.
That's awesome.
From the spring game. Did you take that photo?
I'd have to look. I don't know. They didn't ask to use it.
Bill, what do we got over there?
I wonder whose photos they decide to use for these. Who do they ask?
We got a numbered Davison Igbinosin to 75. That looks pretty
I
cool.
think he's going to have a big game on Friday.
It shakes up to be his kind of game, don't you think?
I do. I mean, I think about that Oregon game, and Oregon took one shot down the field in the second quarter, and it bounced off Davison's helmet. And I think he might be in line for a pick this week.
It was the benefit of not turning his head to find the football.
That's right.
Here's one from Brett. It's a long one. Bear with me.
Okay.
I've heard a theory that Ohio State was one of the slowest playing teams this year, intentionally during the regular season, to limit the wear and tear of the players to get them to the playoffs fresh. Now that they're in the playoffs, they're letting it rip and playing faster and more aggressive. What do you think is the likelihood that there is some truth to this? In my mind, it certainly could explain why they look like a different team all of a sudden in the playoffs. It would have been fun to watch them play like this all year. However, I would much rather them be peaking now.
It's certainly true. Right?
I think it's
true.
Yeah, it's not a theory. It's
No
100% correct.
Now, I think we all sort of disagree with doing it all year, but
I mean, if it gets them a national championship,
at this
there's not much
point-
to disagree with.
you can be on board with it.
What if they'd use some tempo on November 30th?
Well, that's a novel concept.
No, I mean, we started talking about that in the middle of the season, and it was like hinting at some of the reasons and justifications that Ohio State could be playing at that.
It's a Buckeye.
Uh-oh.
I think
Is
it's
it
an auto.
Is it auto to 100?
It's an Emeka Abuka auto. 4
That
out
is-
of 100.
That's pretty cool. We can give it to the Cotton Bowl moderator who doesn't know how to pronounce his name.
Miki.
Miki Ebuki.
I also think that there's a part of this where Ryan Day, and he admitted as much last week on Friday, like there is more time for him right now to be involved in the game planning.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell whether that's because he's forcing it, whether it's because it's just the natural progression of the offense when he's involved. Like the concepts in the passing game are much different right now than they have been all year.
I asked Chip Kelly about that on Wednesday night, and I thought he was going to punch me in the throat.
Well, I hope he doesn't.
It was just like I was like, we're not saying this, that he can be more involved in the passing attack or the other things. Like Ryan said that. We're latching on to a comment that he said, and he's like, Ryan is involved every day, all year round.
I asked him the same question, and he gave me the same answer and the same stare.
And
Yeah.
like,
Ryan Williams.
which I get. He's not going to throw Ryan Day under the bus or like say that he wasn't giving full effort or anything during the regular season. I get that. But like, this is coming directly from Day, and I think he's been a pretty honest public evaluator of what he's doing and not doing, dating back to the Cotton Bowl a year ago.
Patch auto out of 99 for Josh Hoover from TCU.
It's pretty,
I don't.
Patch autos aren't a guarantee.
those are definitely not a guarantee. Is that a thick sleeve? Because you need a thick
It is a
sleeve for
thick
that.
boy.
All right.
I'm a magnet for Nate Johnson from Vanderbilt.
Trevor Etienne elements of the game.
Got the Colonel.
Colonel Tate.
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't like that they played slow, but who am I to quibble with the result it's getting them right now?
But it's not a theory. It's definitely.
It's definitely not a theory. It is an astute observation that is 100% true. Here's one from Denny. Do the Buckeyes look hungry? Tennessee and Oregon, they had something to prove. Is the team demeanor, or does the team demeanor still have that look about them?
They don't look like they're just here for a good time. I'll say that.
They're supremely motivated.
Oh my God.
Tyler Van Dyke.
And
Jackson
and a Jackson Arnold's at 25. Like, talk about just you want to hit quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Not these two. Not your number.
This is a Jackson Arnold Auburn color match, though.
It is. You're right. Sorry, what were you saying before I got disgusted by these cards?
That Ohio State is not lacking for motivation.
Oh,
in this
yeah.
game. I got a Xavier Watts die cut on card auto.
Well,
Safety from Notre Dame. He's an excellent player.
That's
My
going to
fourth
sell
auto
very
was
well.
Tez Johnson out of 100. Beauty. It's the gold card.
They're 2 wins away from a national championship. Like, I guess there's not the obvious thing lingering out there, like the wanting to prove people wrong against Tennessee, wanting to get the revenge against Oregon, but they're in the semifinals. I don't think they're suddenly going to lack the killer instinct that's got them to this point.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're in this position and you don't have that inherently in yourself, you're not going to last very long anyway.
Yeah.
So, do they look hungry? I think they do. They look pissed off. They look like they're angry. And I think that's what they have to do. That's who they have to be.
Yeah. I have felt that when they've walked into the stadium, both against Tennessee and Oregon, that when they talk about business trips and being locked in and focused, you can tell when that's real and when it's like maybe just lip service. They're backing all that up. They are operating meetings, press conferences, walkthroughs, practices, every time that we've been around them at the highest level. Like, they're maxing out right now. That's what's been fun to watch. Like, it's really cool for them that they've hit the lowest point that any of them probably could have ever envisioned for this year and then turned it around with, like, just flat out saying they're not going to let that happen again. Like, good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Emeka Ibuka said it on Wednesday night, and it's been a common refrain throughout the year. He said, I've been here for 4 years. I have nothing to show for it.
Well, that's what Jordan Hancock said the same. Like,
And, like,
we
they're
were
not-
talking about it. We need to leave here with something.
Yeah.
We have to leave here with some hardware. Like, that is what motivates them. They want to win. And it's not just because they feel like they're letting people down. Like, they feel like they haven't accomplished anything. That's a powerful motivator.
No doubt. Well, one more question, and we're going to wrap it up.
Let's take one more.
Okay. One moment, please, while I pull it up. Let's get one.
Tez Johnson out of 100 is a nice poll. It's
Yeah.
going to be a first rounder. You got to like that. The Drew Aller's big. Obviously, DJ Lagley, that's a home run.
That's the big one. That was a hit for us.
Yeah. Played the hell out of that record.
This is from Patrick. Ohio State has dominated defensively the last 2 games. It has failed to record a turnover. Typically the easiest way to blow a team out. Is this the game where they finally get one in the playoffs?
I'll be really surprised if they don't have an interception of Quinn Ewers, because he's had one in each of the last 3 games, at least one in each of the last 3 games, and he's got 11 for the season. He can be careless at times with the football, and Ohio State is incredibly opportunistic, even though they have not got a flood of takeaways. The way that Caleb Downs is going to the football right now, he's going to get an interception. Whether that is tomorrow night or on the 20th, I don't know. But I'm stunned that he didn't get one against Oregon, because I thought that was one of the most energetic, impactful performances that barely shows up in the box score.
I mean, he dropped 3 of them, right?
Well, they weren't. They're not
right
drops.
at
They
him.
were
Yeah,
like
I mean,
they were. Some of them. One of them was a sensational PBU.
Diving over the middle. And
He is. I think he's the one to watch for sure. He's going to be in position, I think, to make an interception, and Quinn Ewers is prone to putting the ball in harm's way.
I think Quinn will throw an interception. I think Ohio State's playing too well defensively to keep going 3 games not getting these takeaways. I mean, maybe the way they're pressuring the quarterback, maybe it can be a fumble, but I think they're going to confuse Quinn, and that's going to lead to him throwing the ball to Ohio State at least one time.
yeah, I mean, he's willing to take chances, and if you're a quarterback that's willing to take chances against this defense, you're taking a chance of getting an interception or 2.
Yep. Well, we're going to find out tomorrow night because the Cotton Bowl is almost here. Thanks for joining us for some road breaks with some Deep Elm IPAs. Might have a couple more of these tonight as we watch the Orange Bowl and see what happens with Notre Dame and Penn State. Get these and all the other college football products at Card Collector 2 down in Grove City. Check them out. Tell them that we sent you. Thanks to that. To Ryan.
Four Autos is a hell of a.
It's a really fun product.
It's a good.
Get some numbered parallels and 4 autographs. Pretty cool. And there's a lot of Buckeye stuff in there to chase if you are so inclined, which if you're watching this video, I bet you are. Ohio State and Texas tomorrow night. We can't wait. We're going to have Podcast Daily Bold Predictions on Friday morning. We'll have the pregame keys later on when we get there, if we get there. Because it's still pretty gnarly out there. We made it on Thursday.
Snap judgments, everything else. You know what to expect.
You know the drill. So cheers, and thanks for joining us for Road Breaks, brought to you by Card Collector 2. For Bill Landis and Jeremy Birmingham, I'm Austin Ward. We'll see you later.